Should you play Star Trek Online in 2024? Well, whether you're new here and you're trying to figure out if you want to get started, a returning player trying to see if it's worth it to come back, or an existing player trying to figure out whether they want to stick with it next year, I'm here to help. So stay tuned because I have my top 5 reasons why you might want to play Star Trek Online in 2024 and my top 5 reasons why you might not. Let's start with the negatives. That way, if none of them sound like deal breakers, you'll have some good news waiting for you at the end of the video. Starting with my number 5 reason, the DECA Takeover. In case you're out of the loop, I'll summarize real quickly. Embracer Group is a large company that went on a spending spree buying a lot of gaming-related companies, one of them being Cryptic Studios, which is the studio that makes Star Trek Online. As a result of a bad business deal falling through, they've had to do some restructuring, and a lot of their companies have suffered collateral damage, one of them being Cryptic, who had to cancel some of their projects in development and have now been placed under a different publisher, DECA Games. Initially, we thought that this was going to be a temporary holding spot, but it's starting to look like it may be a permanent home, and as a result, some of the staff who are currently open to work might be leaving to be replaced by cheaper employees working for DECA. Of course, this is speculation at this point, but it's substantiated by a significant amount of evidence. You'll find links in the description to tell you all about it. The next reason is a bit more speculative than the last, but it could still be cause for concern, as the rights to Star Trek as a franchise may be up in the air. Sherry Redstone, who owns 80% of the voting shares in Paramount Global, a company that owns the rights to Star Trek, is reportedly looking to sell them. And, oh dear God, one of the people she's been talking to is Bobby Kotick? Oh no, no. Well, we don't know exactly what this means. She may or may not sell. It is still speculation, but it is leaning towards that. We don't know who she would sell them to or what they would even decide to do with Star Trek. It could even be a good thing, as it may open up new avenues if Paramount Plus gets closed down, so that the old favorite shows and movies end up back on more popular streaming platforms like Netflix or Hulu. It may not impact Cryptic in any way, shape, or form, even if she does decide to sell her shares, but it is something to keep a watch out for, especially if you're just a Star Trek fan in general. The number 3 reason are the bugs. This game has a lot of bugs, and with the aforementioned reason of it going under DECA Studios, where it will almost certainly see less development than it does now, it's unlikely that a lot of these lingering, persistent bugs are going to get fixed. It's not impossible, but some of them can be almost game-breaking, such as the loadout bug and one of my personal favorites recently, where you spawn in space as your ground character. My number 2 reason is the fact that it will be celebrating its 14th anniversary next year, which is quite the milestone, but those years are starting to show. It can look beautiful at times, and even with some improvements over the years, such as Lighting 2.0, there are times where it looks almost downright ugly, and it really doesn't look as good as a lot of newer games. Also, there's a lot of things baked into the design philosophy of the game from 14 years ago that make it a bit dated compared to what we see nowadays. If you don't like the way gaming is gone, that might be a good thing, but just keep in mind it is an older game, and that is going to impact the quality somewhat. And my number 1 reason why you might not want to play Star Trek Online in 2024 is the monetization. If you've seen my channel, you know I hate the gambling, which is the primary way that they make money. This is doubly offensive, especially since this is a game about Star Trek of all things. Of course, it is a free-to-play game, and you can enjoy it completely for free, and they do sell things that don't involve gambling, but it is their main source of revenue, and it is pushed quite heavily, and whatever cutbacks we're likely to see as a result of them moving over to DECA Games, surely one of the last things to get cut is going to be the gambling, so if you're into that, that's great, but I'm not, and it might be a reason you might not want to play. Okay, are you still here? Great, let's move on to the good stuff, like clicking the like button, and my number 5 reason for why you might want to play Star Trek Online in 2024, starting with the unique gameplay. Yes, this game has space combat unlike anything you'll find in any other game, regardless of whether it's 14 years old or put out yesterday. It's simply a ton of fun. There are over 200 ships for you to choose from, lots of customization options, and I guarantee you'll have a good time. Moving on to my number 4 reason, again, as a 14-year-old game, it's very mature and has a lot of content. 14 years worth of updates, in fact, and that means lots of story missions, patrols, TFOs, and other things to do. Speaking of all those things to do, my number 3 reason has to do with the story content. There is some amazing original storytelling in this game, including the original cast members from some of the TV shows coming into the recording studio to reprise their characters. 2 arcs that really stand out to me are the Iconian arc and the Victory is Life arc, which picks up after the events of Deep Space Nine, a fan favorite for many, including myself. We get to revisit characters such as Bashir, Garrick, Odo, and Kira, voiced by their original actors, as well as all of the indelible Ferengi, including Quark and Nog and Brunt himself. So, if you haven't played any of those story missions, I think it's worth getting into the game just to play those. If all you did was level up your character and play those story arcs, I think you would be getting more than enough value for the time you put into it. My number 2 reason for why you might want to play Star Trek Online next year is all the free stuff. Now, we don't know for sure because we haven't been told yet, but if previous years are any indication, you're going to get an event campaign with at least 5 events where you can score some unique items that should come from those, as well as the grand prize for doing all of them, which is your choice of a premium ship or 2 ships from the regular cash shop, or some premium currency to buy things from the premium currency store, the Lobby store. Now, in addition to that, you'll also get 3 other free ships from the Summer, Winter, and Anniversary event. And the Anniversary event comes up pretty quickly in the year, so you'll get one right away. If you're a new player starting an account, or a returning player, or you're just starting a new account, you're going to be able to get things going pretty quickly in the new year. That's not to mention that every character also gets fleet ship modules from doing their reputations, so they'll be able to get at least 2 free fleet ships on top of everything else. There are lots of goodies you get for playing the game, and based on the way that DECA runs their games, that's unlikely to stop anytime soon. They lean in very heavily on events and event-based rewards, which means that you're always going to have something to do, and doing it is always going to give you a reward. And my number 1 reason for why you might want to play Star Trek Online next year is the outstanding community. Whether it's the mature subreddit filled with friendly people who are ready to answer any questions you might have, or the dedicated troopers who keep the wiki updated with tons of information about the game, or even some of your favorite folks right here on YouTube, feel free to hit the subscribe button, who put out great content about the game. You are going to feel well supported, you're going to have people to talk to about the game, and you're going to have lots of great engaging content to help you enjoy it along the way. What do you think? Are those some good reasons or not? What are your reasons for wanting to play Star Trek Online next year? Or maybe you don't want to, and you can share some of those reasons as well. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. I hope you guys have a Merry Trekmas. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.